Welcome to the Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership Podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a drop of straight talk you can't get anywhere else. We discuss the whiskeys to drink, music to listen to, and what it really takes to be an effective leader. I'm your host, Galen Bingham, the leadership strategist. Tonight's guest, Season 4 fan favorite, Misty Campbell, and Season 5 standout, Frank Kitchen. Hey, what you drinking? Now, Misty, I'd love for you to chime in here because you've done some things that I can tangibly see and put in the category of results because I've tangibly seen it, such as that book. You know, put some little spice on what Frank just shared about the results that you've seen from this whole accountability thing.
You see what he did there, Frank? You saw what he did there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a little kitchen pun there. I heard it.
That's a little, and I'm going to follow that up with, so Frank, as I'm sitting here watching you speak to Galen, I've got an idea and put it on the board. It's got something to do with a green drink, okay? Yeah, I've got something for the fresh kitchen. The number one thing that I like to say about having a great accountability partner is having a place where you can be vulnerable. And you give yourself permission to be vulnerable, whether it's, all right, I need to go out here and get 50,000 in 5 weeks, right? Or maybe it's that, yeah, you know what? I am tired. Or maybe it's, you know, and when you do masterminds, you have a dollar amount. And so we have dollar amounts sometimes as goals. And so you have to be in a vulnerable place to say, okay, I'm working on 50,000 and I'm at 500. Well, how am I going to get there? So having a place of vulnerability for sure. And then I've had some accountability partners who were not great accountability partners. And shout out to Robert Kennedy. He was like, those are not your accountability partners. And I'm like, because I'm not being accountable and I'm still in the same place. And I don't have anything to show for us being accountability partners. They were great people to talk with, but our accountability group was not a priority. And so Frank and I, what we did do was allow each other the opportunity to show up as our best selves, which is what we're going to be working on this year in the form of a book, Zoom calls, workshops, you know, not so much how to spot a great accountability partner, but how to show up as a great accountability partner.
Now, I love that. Now we're talking about accountability as it pertains to the benefits that we've seen from our business. Because earlier, I had my personal accountability partners on, and that was with Mr. or Dr. Peter A. James and Ms. Shana Renee Hammond. And so you got to hear some of the things that we work through. But, I'd love to hear from you guys for our listeners, and many of them are not necessarily in the speaker business. They're not necessarily hitting stages and doing what we do. They're running an organization. They're leading people. Some are just trying to get their thing better than it was yesterday. How might they use and identify accountability partners for the work that they're doing, regardless of where that work, how that work is? How would you recommend that folks leverage accountability to do their thing a little better? And Frank, let's start with you this time.
Okay. I mean, in the leverage, it's the case of, we always talk about like, how hungry are you for it? I mean, if you don't want an accountability partner or somebody in your life, then guess what? I mean, then you're really not hungry for what you're going for. Like I call Misty, like when I wrote my book, Misty's in the book, I call her my taste tester. And I go, when we're actually cooking up something, we want something, whether, like you said, personal life, professional life. And then guess what? We always get that one person where they know the result that we want. They know what we desire. And we have to ask them to sample it. Too much sugar, too much salt, too hot, too cold. And we got to be willing to get the feedback. And the reason we do that is because we want that tasty result. If you aren't getting the results that you want, if you're not willing to go get an accountability partner, then you got to ask yourself, do you really want that result you're telling everybody that you hunger for? I mean, so that's the piece is, nobody does everything by themselves. Like right now, you've seen Misty or hearing Misty right now, but Misty isn't the only one who's behind me. Like I'm up here living this life as a speaker, but there's a whole bunch of people who are behind me that I can reach out to at any point to help push it up. When I try to do everything by myself, I fell flat on my face. But when I found the people who are definitely supportive and care about me and care about the results that I achieve, that's why I'm here now. And we're listening because Misty is one of those big people for me. I mean, here's the other part about the accountability piece, and we were talking about it this last week. We didn't hit our normal times where we talk to each other. And Misty's like walking on the beach, and I get a text, and she goes, "Hey, Frank," she goes, it's almost when you also have this accountability, it's a good fix. If everybody understands I'm talking about a fix, but me and Misty now are hooked on each other. So if we don't talk in our normal time and day, she goes, "Hey," because when she goes to Florida, normally she calls me from walking on the beach. And she goes, "Okay." She's like, "I'm not feeling right today because I'm not talking to my accountability partner on the beach." So, I mean, it's also a piece of just feeling right that, hey, when I got some issues, I need to share something, I can go call that person right there. I've got somebody. So you're not feeling like you're doing these things alone, because nobody wants to be alone. Okay, at least I got one who's there for me and is going to give me some feedback or just listen. I mean, at some point you just need like she said about being vulnerable, you need somebody just to listen to you. And once you get it out, then you're like, okay, let me get back at it.
Yeah, I like that. Misty, what about you?
So I think that you leverage it by doing the work that you all discuss. And so you really won't know if you and somebody else will, gel or jab or whatever, until you really just started. And even if you say you're like 4 weeks in and one of you you're late or you didn't call when you were supposed to or whatever, a great accountability partner will say, "Hey, you know what? I carved this time out for us. So I want results." And, shout out to Miss Ann McNeil. I'm thinking about her. She'd be like, "Well, only if you want it and ready to make money," or whatever she be saying. And if you not, but that's what it kind of boils down to, is that, like I like to say, especially with a mastermind, with accountability partner, I'm getting further faster because I'm networking with these individuals. And so I can, reach out to Frank Kitchen and say, "Hey, I got this idea. I want to start my podcast back." You know what I mean? And we build it out from there. But also, I think it leveraging it, you're okay with the planning time of it because you have a witness. You have somebody who's like there with you, there to work it out with you. And so it may take you a year to push out a particular project, but you're not BSing because you have somebody that is holding you accountable, that can say, "Okay, so you ready to put a deadline on that? Or you ready to move that up? Okay, what do you need to do to get the book published? And then let's just focus on that." And so when you take that support from your accountability partner, you make more money.
And it's not even money too, because, we've got like between both of us health goals too. And like, there's a point, you also don't want to let your accountability partner down. So when you share it with them and you're going to have, whenever you schedule your check-in with them, you want to make sure that you're doing it. So like sometimes we'll text each other ahead. It's like, "Okay, when we see each other 2 days, but I haven't done this yet." So like we both talked about this year's, like we want to move at least 30 minutes every day. Doesn't matter what the exercise, we're doing it. So I'm on a trip and I'm going, all right, I can't be checking in with Misty on Friday and let her know I didn't go walk, I didn't go to the gym, I didn't go do something. So it's that piece too about the relationship, is you're not necessarily even letting yourself down. Now you're worried about letting down this person because they've blocked out time for you to listen to you, or into you, share their resources, their network with you. And then if you're just, I'll say it right now, if you're just doing a half-ass or doing nothing, then you feel like, okay, my accountability partner is either going to get on me and set me straight, or you're going to feel like you're letting them down because you're like, okay, well, wait a second. They just gave the most valuable thing that we all have, is their time. They pulled away from their kids or their family to make time for you, wake up early, and then you still didn't put in the work. So, I mean, that's also a nice motivation and drive, because you want to show up to that call or that meeting and be like, okay, well, yeah, here's what I did. And especially if you can do more, because there's points where she and I have, like, we set what our goals are, and the next week we blow it out the water. Now we got to brag to each other.
Yes.
So there's a challenge that goes back and forth. Like, okay, well, I did this. Okay, well, like, let's say we're playing cards. Like, okay, well, I'm going to see your ace right now, but I'm going to, like, boom, I'm going to get you this one. Like, so it's a good challenge.
One of the things that I've heard you guys say a couple of times, you've used this word a couple of times, both of you, and it's this idea of relationship. And I said actually last week that everyone on the planet can fool anyone for 5 minutes, right? Anybody can fool everyone for 5 minutes. Professional speakers, we can fool anyone for 30 minutes, right? For 30 minutes, we can fool anyone. But when you've got a relationship that spans years, it's kind of hard to hide, right? Eventually, a good accountability partner, at least my accountability partners all the time, and this frustrates me, say, Galen, you've been coming in here for the past 3 weeks saying the exact same thing that you're going to do. Either do it or stop talking about it. And you don't get that when you meet someone for the first time or when you only have a 30-minute relationship. Talk a little bit about the value of the long-term relationship as it pertains to your accountability.
I mean, I'm gonna say it's like you know you can be real, and like people are listening to this right now, but we're not full of fluff. I'm gonna let you know right now. There's been some points where me and Misty have just bumped ahead, and she goes, "Hey, if you weren't my accountability partner, my friend, anything like that," she goes, "I'd have to set you straight, even more than this." But we go. So I'm saying there's points where we've agreed that we're gonna be real with each other, and it's not that we're just gonna be saying all the good stuff. So there's a couple of times we're like, "Hey, I talked to her." It's like, come on, like you said, you've been saying this, let's go. And at the same points, I've done a few things, and like Misty's like, I don't like that. And then you start to reevaluate. It's like, okay, here's a better way to do, here's a better way to go ask. But you said, even with that relationship, our families know each other. Like I've gotten a chance to meet her mom and her grandfather. She's met my wife and my mom. Like when I'm talking to her, like my wife walks by, is like, hey, tell Misty, hey. I mean, that's the deal where it is a full relationship. It's not just a little piece. Like when she talked about being open, you can't come to any accountability piece and say, well, I'm only going to talk about my personal life. I'm only going to talk about you got to share your whole self. And it takes a while to earn that trust. But once you do, that allows us to have better conversations of what's going on. So if I get the text message from her right now going, okay, I got a problem with my accountability partner, I know I've done something that I got to set straight. I mean, where it's going, or it's like, I mean, but we've gotten to that point now where we can like send some jokes back and forth to each other. And most people from the outside world are like, oh man, is he mad? Is she mad? It's not that. We've just gotten that deep into the relationship that, how can we talk on here again? Can we be honest? I'm like,
go for it.
She can give me shit. And I'm like, it don't matter because we've gotten to that point in our relationship to where if she likes something I'm doing, she's going to let me know. If she doesn't, she's going to let me know. And she's doing it out of, best way I can say is just out of love and care, going, hey, I want you to have the best. And that's what it is for anybody in life. We go to have a coach, a mentor, those people, they know the best results. And they're not always going to say what you like to hear, but they're going to say what you need to hear. And that's the whole piece about this relationship is when we share information with each other, it's what we need to hear because we know the result that person wants.
Misty, what's been the value of having a longer term relationship as opposed to, you're assigned to this person for 4 weeks. Yeah, you're going to get some things done. You're going to accomplish some things, but you guys have been together for years now. So what's the value of that long-term relationship?
Yeah, the value is that I'm excited for my future goals. So, I can have a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, but I have 10-year goals. We have retirement goals. And so being able to work with each other and discuss those, well, okay, you want to retire? How much do you want when you retire? How are you going to get there from here? I'm talking about real life things. What if something happens to us? Who takes over the business? Real life, because we know that, my book is on caregiving. So the likelihood of one of us needing a caregiving or becoming a caregiver, which we both are with our parents, is so high. So the value is that the generations after me, my heirs, will be able to eat off this or live off this or make money off this because they'll know what it means to. It's almost a surrender in a way. It's almost a surrender to a higher power because, again, like I stated earlier, you'll know if you got a great accountability partner. And the value that it could never be described in a dollar amount, like in money, because the value that you get, you can take anywhere on planet Earth or Mars or to the moon. They going now. You can take it anywhere with you, and you stand taller, and you do less work because somebody is saying my name in rooms where I am not. So now you know about Fearless Advocates. You know about All Purpose Radio. You know about, like I was thinking about when we were in Florida, the book fearlessadvocates.com. It hurts my heart because my book is based off my son who has cerebral palsy, and he was quadriplegic and he was in a wheelchair, but he passed in 2017. And so when we met at the International Masterminders Association, it kind of hurt my heart. And even like Frank Kitchen, of the people who will never get to meet him. Because if you thought I have a bright light, his light was even brighter. But I'm being brought up in rooms where I'm not even there. That's value right there.
But you talk about the value of that mastermind, the value of having a great accountability partner is I share people on stage. I go, hey, do you have people in your life who care as much for your dream as you do, who are there to celebrate, even though, quote, you might have success, they're there celebrating more than you do. So for Misty, you keep talking about the CSP. I was telling her about the CSP process when I was going through. She's like, I better be the first phone call. So when I got it, I called her. She's like, yeah. I'm like, she like almost like dropped the phone. I could hear her screaming, yelling in the background. Like, she's like, my accountability partner. But here's the big piece, Galen. So this is like when I found out was a few weeks before her birthday. And I'll let you know, her birthday is not a birthday day. It's a birthday month. Okay.
Absolutely.
Her kids' birthdays are right before hers. So she spends time getting their parties going. So it's her birthday month. But she goes, hey, Frank, I'm coming out to see you. Now she's in Chicago. I'm in Arizona. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm coming out. And then she goes, okay, wait. She's like, I got to wait watch how I say that, because she goes, I don't want your wife thinking anything. But she goes, no, I'm bringing my kids out. She goes, because she's a great mother. I mean, she finds things to expose her kids to, goes and travel. But she moved her travel date with her kids. She goes, well, hey, they haven't really seen Arizona. I want to bring them out there. So she brought her kids. So she brought Ace and Maya out to Arizona, found a hotel resort area to stay at, goes, I want to meet your wife and kids. So we all met poolside. Me, Misty, and my wife, Kelly, sat and talked. And the kids are in the pool playing. And this is her birthday weekend that she came out. So she like kind of gave up her birthday to come out and celebrate, because she goes, well, hey, you're my accountability partner. And then, she also gave gave a nice gift there, but we also brought cupcakes out for her because we knew what type of cupcake she liked when we did the party. So that piece says somebody knows you enough, but wants to go and like, celebrate with you. I mean, that's one of the other parts about accountability is, once again, I think, and especially in this world now with the mental stresses people are going through, if you've at least got one person, no matter what, thick or thin, they're always going to be there. That's the thing about having a great accountability partner. It's one thing to have it, but what we're sharing with you right now tonight as we're doing this recording is we're talking about how do you become the best or great or valuable accountability partner? Because you said we've all got these accountability partners where when me and Misty first met, when the mastermind stopped, we go, you know what? We're finding value out of this. We love this. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's like, they're done. It's like, okay, like you said, 4 weeks is up, 10 weeks is up. I'm out. Let me go move to the next spot. We kept our thing going. Oh, she's got a story she's going to share right now. Go ahead, Misty.
So, and Galen, I want to let your audience know, Galen, you can drink whatever you want to drink, but I'm drinking Jameson. And I'm in party mode now. So, Galen, I'm just letting you know that. But what I have in my hand is a award from Frank Kitchen. And let me tell you, so Frank Kitchen is telling his CSP story, which when he said, I don't want to make her cry, that's where I thought he was headed. But okay, nevertheless. So what did Frank Kitchen say? He found out he won his CSP. He called me, I yelled, I screamed, we did all of that. And so this past summer, Frank and I were blessed to co-chair the annual Black National Speakers Association's annual event at the National Speakers Association annual event, which is called Influence. So we were co-chairs. So we're on, let me go back. So the year he won the CSP, we're in a smaller room, and Frank starts thanking all these people for helping him get his CSP. Now here, listeners, you have to understand, I was sitting and he was standing, but I was in the front row in front of him. So he's listening, people. I'm like, okay, let's just let him get to the end. No big deal. He gets to the end and he forgets to mention me. So that's 2022, right? So come 2023, at the annual event, Frank and I are co-chairing. We're up on stage. And Frank stops at the very beginning and then says, okay, Misty doesn't know this, but he gave me an award. It says, to the world's best accountability partner, Misty Campbell, my company, Campbell Girl Media. Thank you for being a part of my success, Frank Kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
I love surprises, good surprises. But going back to value, you want the other person to know, I value you. You know, I cherish you. I'm better because of you. And that's what having an accountability partner is about. If you're not better because of this person, then I don't know.
Man, I love the way that you guys relate to one another, the credit that you give each other for the success that you're having. And I want to get into this conversation about how you push each other. Those moments when you didn't feel like doing the work. No one felt like doing the work. It's almost like, I think Dr. Peter talks about having a workout buddy in the gym, where you do what you do, you're exhausted, but when you got a buddy there, somehow you find the strength to push out 2 or 3 more. So I want to get into that conversation. But I don't want to do that on this side of the velvet rope. If you guys have a few more minutes, I got to bring you into the VIP room because we're getting into a really, really, really valuable part of why this accountability thing is worth the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that folks will charge you to be part of a manufactured accountability share group. But somehow you guys are finding value without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I don't want to give that away for free. So let's bring that into the VIP room. Plus, my VIPs have been banging on the walls because I told them I was going to help them with this piece. They know that you're here and I haven't brought you in. So I got to bring you to the VIP room. But before I do, I would love to hear, what are you guys working on either together or separately that our listeners need to be on the lookout for? Misty, let's go ahead and start with you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm writing another book.
All right.
Yes, it's going to be inspirational in nature. I meditated this morning, so I think that I'm going to kind of base it off of different people I've met on my journey, and it'll be mixed with biblical Bible verses. So that's one thing I'm working on. I am also coming out with, let's call it a magazine / calendar right now. It'll have articles in it. It'll have pictures, images. So I'm looking forward to building that out for my fans. And what else am I working on, Frank? My podcast, building out my podcast, and it's been such a blessing, and for myself and to others, and building out my podcast. So those are my 3 things.
So Frank, what's going on with you? What do you have in the kitchen? What do you have in the cupboard there that we should be on the lookout for?
I mean, this comes from Misty, and I said a few other people, but the big one right now is I want to build a Hall of Fame speaking career. I mean, she told me don't be afraid to throw that out there. Now, does it mean I'll become a Hall of Famer? It's like, no, but a Hall of Fame speaking career just means that I'm going to be around for a long period of time. I'm going to be doing excellent work, valuable work. And the piece is sometimes we don't feel that our standards are that high. And like Misty came out to see me speak in Chicago, and she goes, my accountability partner is good. Yeah, I want to jump on more stages. I want to help people transform that career aspiration in reality. I want to help people kind of like what we have right here. So, I mean, that's a big one. And then the other one is me and Misty, we want to work on this book in the future and some type of coursework that's going to go with it on how to be the world's best accountability partner. And right now we're saying, hey, you know what? We're not trying to do theory. We want to do practicum. So right now we're using ourselves as the guinea pigs on how to really make this work. And like just being on this podcast now, that's the sharing aspect. And she and I are smiling. We're looking at each other through the camera. But that's something we want to go work on there because we feel people need this, but also want it. So Hall of Fame speaking career, doing that. And then I'll be honest, the family, we want to travel around the world. So I got to take care of the family too. She always tells me not to forget about the family. She's my travel agent. She tells me where to take them, all the good stuff, and how to get the deals. So big one right now, probably by the time this comes out, is my wife. She's got a big birthday coming up in a couple of years, so I want to make enough money where we want to go travel around South America. I mean, that's high on the list. So it's like she told me that's where you got to take me. She wants to go down so she can say Chile the right way. So.
Hey, I'll tell you, any of my fellow Rice alums will know that there is a drink there that is an international drink called the Pisco Sour. That there's argument as to whether who owns the actual Pisco Sour, whether it's Peru or whether it's Chile. But whatever side you go to, you got to make sure you indulge in some Pisco Sour.
I'm gonna have to get that to bring it back, and we're gonna reach the VIP room's not gonna be the VIP room. You gotta start changing that. That's the whiskey room or the jazz club. We gotta change the name. I mean, that's that might be the Misty room. I don't know. But yeah, so no more of this VIP thing for people coming in here in a little bit, and then you got to keep the name, you got to keep the brand going. So this has got to be the whiskey room, the jazz club, something. So when people want to come in for that VIP experience, that's what we're doing.
I like it. You can have that, Galen. You can have that.
Well, hey, I really appreciate both of you individually because, as I've said on our individual podcast conversations, I really respect what both of you do individually and various parts of my career and what I do. I reflect on what I've gotten from each of you. I really do respect and appreciate what you guys are doing together, because one of the things that my accountability partner says often is that everyone needs someone to call them higher. And I see you guys doing that for each other, and it is no surprise when you see the kind of results and the kind of achievements you guys are generating. So with that, raise your glass. We're gonna toast out one last time on this side of the velvet rope. I'll see you in the VIP room or in the Misty Campbell room.
Hey, cheers.
All right, cheers. Hey, it's not too late. Hit that subscribe button so you're sure to catch the next episode. If you're really enjoying the vibe, leave us a review or become a VIP for guest and show exclusives. Cheers.